The hidden language of the heart, how deep connection rewires everything. It's a Tuesday, ordinary, unremarkable. You're rushing through your day, coffee in hand, mind already 3 steps ahead of where your body is. And somewhere, in the blur of that morning, someone paused what they were doing, completely stopped, just to ask if you were okay. Not because you looked broken, not because you were crying, but because something in your voice, something microscopic, something almost invisible to the rest of the world, told them you weren't quite yourself. And you said, "I'm fine." And you moved on. But here's what you didn't see. Here's what you couldn't see, because you were too busy surviving the day to notice it. That person had been watching you, not in a frightening way, not with obsession, but with the kind of deep, quiet attention that only exists when someone has decided, on some level they may not even be able to articulate, that you matter to them in a way that very few people do. You are living inside someone's emotional universe, and you almost walked right past it. This is the paradox that we never talk about. We spend so much time chasing connection, scrolling, swiping, performing, proving, desperately searching for evidence that we are loved, that we are chosen, that we are seen. And yet, the most profound signs of emotional attachment, they don't announce themselves. They don't come with grand gestures or declarations. They whisper. They linger in the corner of a conversation. They live in the spaces between words. And if you don't know what to look for, you will miss them. Every single time. Here's what's at stake. Not just in your relationships, but in your entire understanding of yourself as a human being capable of deep connection. If you cannot read the silent language of emotional attachment, you will misread the people in your life. You will mistake distance for disinterest. You will interpret quiet devotion as indifference. You will push away the very people who have built a secret cathedral in your honor inside their hearts. And you won't even know you've done it. But if you can read it, if you learn to recognize these 7 silent signs, something in you transforms. Because the moment you realize someone is emotionally attached to you, you are no longer just a person moving through the world. You become someone with the power to honor that attachment, to deepen it, to become worthy of it, or to gently, compassionately release it. That is the real stakes here. Not just understanding others, becoming someone who understands. Let's begin. Before we name the signs, we have to understand the soil they grow in. Emotional attachment is not an accident. It is not random. It is a deeply biological, psychological, and neurological process. And when you understand how it works, the signs I'm about to show you will stop looking like coincidences and start looking like blueprints. The first concept you need to understand is attachment theory, pioneered by British psychologist John Bowlby and later expanded by Mary Ainsworth. Bowlby's foundational insight was revolutionary, and simple: human beings are wired for connection the way trees are wired for sunlight. We do not choose to need attachment. We are built for it. From the moment we enter the world, our nervous systems are calibrated to seek proximity to those who make us feel safe. And here's what's profound: that wiring never disappears. It evolves, it matures, but it never leaves. The adult who quietly rearranges their schedule to spend more time near you is operating on a neurological level from the same ancient impulse as a child reaching for their mother. The need is primal. The expression is just more subtle. The second concept is neuroplasticity and emotional imprinting. Here is where it gets extraordinary. When 2 people interact repeatedly, when they share vulnerability, humor, conflict, silence, and repair, their brains literally change in response to each other. Neuroscientist Daniel Siegel calls this interpersonal neurobiology. The neural pathways associated with a specific person become more deeply carved with every meaningful interaction. This is why thinking about someone you're attached to can physically calm your nervous system. This is why hearing a person's name after a long absence can make your heart rate shift. Their presence has been neurologically encoded into you. And when someone is emotionally attached to you, you have been encoded into them. Their brain has reorganized itself, in part, around your existence. That is not a small thing. That is one of the most intimate acts the human body is capable of. The third concept is the oxytocin trust loop. Oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, is released during moments of genuine connection, eye contact, physical touch, shared laughter, moments of vulnerability. But here's what most people don't know: oxytocin doesn't just respond to closeness. It creates a hunger for it. Every time oxytocin is released in the presence of a specific person, the brain begins to associate that person with safety, warmth, and reward. A feedback loop forms. And that loop, it creates the invisible gravitational pull that draws emotionally attached people back toward you, again and again, even when logic, distance, or circumstance might say otherwise. Understanding these three frameworks changes everything about how you read the behaviors I'm about to name, because none of them are accidents, none of them are random kindnesses. Every silent sign of emotional attachment is a symptom of a deeper neurological and emotional reality. Someone's brain has made a decision about you, even if their mouth hasn't. Now let's decode the signs. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Confine yourself to the present." It sounds simple, but what he was really saying was this: pay attention to what is right in front of you. Because most of life's greatest gifts are hidden inside the ordinary moments we dismiss as unremarkable. The person emotionally attached to you is present in your life. They are showing you, every single day, through behaviors that are easy to overlook, that you matter. And if you don't see it, you are living in the future, in the abstraction of what you wish connection looked like, while real love quietly sets the table in front of you. Here are the 7 silent signs. You mentioned 6 weeks ago, in a passing conversation, that you were nervous about a meeting. They ask you today how it went. You talk once, briefly, about a movie you loved as a child. They bring it up months later. They remember the name of your childhood dog, the city where you grew up, the thing that makes you laugh hardest. This is not a small thing. The human brain is selective. It stores what it values. When someone retains the fine print of your life, they are not just being polite. They are telling you, without words, that their mind has made space for you, permanently. Viktor Frankl wrote that love is the only way to grasp another human being in the innermost core of their personality. Detail retention is love made visible. They notice when something is off before you've named it. They pick up on the slight change in your typing rhythm over text. They sense the tension in your voice before you've identified it yourself. This is not psychic ability. This is emotional attunement, a term from developmental psychology that describes the deep, attentive calibration one person develops for another when they are emotionally invested. The brain of someone attached to you has essentially built a model of your emotional patterns. It is running that model in the background, constantly looking for deviations. You are not just in their thoughts, you are in their awareness. They turn down the noise when you need silence. They deflect criticism of you in social situations. They remember your sensitivities and quietly engineer situations so you don't have to face unnecessary discomfort. This protection is not performative. It doesn't announce itself. It happens in the background, like someone tending a fire, making sure it doesn't go out, without ever asking for credit. Epictetus taught that the truest measure of a person's values is not what they say, but what they protect. When someone emotionally attached to you routinely, silently protects your peace, they are showing you their values. You are one of them. Watch closely. When you slow down, they slow down. When you become animated, they lean in. When you are grieving, something in their energy drops to meet you. This is called behavioral synchrony, and it is one of the most powerful unconscious signals of deep emotional attachment. Psychologist Barbara Fredrickson calls these moments positivity resonance, brief windows where two nervous systems essentially harmonize. You don't manufacture synchrony. You cannot fake it. It is the involuntary signature of a heart that has invested itself in another. There are jokes only the two of you understand, references to shared moments that require no explanation, a shorthand that would be incomprehensible to an outsider. This private language is not trivial. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar, famous for Dunbar's number, found that the depth of a relationship can be measured by the richness of its shared narrative. When someone builds a private world with you, fills it with memories, rituals, and references. They are not just enjoying your company. They are constructing something. They are building an architecture of belonging around your shared existence. That is attachment made manifest, not because they are insecure, but because your opinion has been elevated in their internal hierarchy. When they accomplish something, their first instinct is to tell you. When they fail, your judgment is the one that carries the most weight. When they are deciding something important, they want to know what you think. Not as one vote among many, but as the deciding voice. This is one of the most vulnerable signs on this list, because it means they have handed you a specific kind of power. The power to define their reality, handle it with extraordinary care. This is the final sign, and perhaps the most profound. They stay through the silence, through the conflict, through the version of you that is difficult to love. They don't disappear when the relationship asks something hard of them. They don't vanish the moment comfort becomes inconvenient, because emotional attachment, real attachment, is not a fair weather contract. It is a commitment made at a neurological and emotional level that predates and outlasts convenience. When someone stays, not because they have to, not because they don't have options, but because something in them simply cannot walk away from you, that is not a coincidence. That is the quiet proof of the deepest form of human connection. And here is the cost of never learning to see this. You could live your entire life surrounded by people who have made you the center of their emotional world and feel completely alone, because you were looking for love in the grand gestures, the declarations, the cinematic moments, while it was being delivered to you, quietly, every single day, in the smallest and most faithful of actions. The regret of the unlived life is not just about ambition. It is about the love you didn't know was yours to receive. Understanding the signs is the beginning. What you do with that understanding is where transformation lives. Here is the system, 6 concrete disciplines for building the kind of relational intelligence that honors emotional attachment and deepens human connection. Every morning, before the noise begins, before the phone, before the to-do list, before the performance of the day, spend 5 minutes in deliberate stillness. Ask yourself one question: who in my life is showing me that I matter to them, and am I showing up for them in return? This is not sentimentality. This is strategic emotional inventory. Presence is a decision made daily. Without this practice, you drift. With it, you anchor. Make it a non-negotiable discipline to verbally acknowledge the silent efforts of those emotionally attached to you. Not once a month, not on special occasions, regularly, specifically, and genuinely. I noticed that you remembered that about me. I saw what you did there, and it meant everything. Most people in your life are running on an emotional deficit, giving quietly, receiving little acknowledgement. When you break that cycle, you do not just strengthen a relationship. You become the kind of person who creates safety. Safety is the soil in which all attachment deepens. Treat your most important relationships the way you would treat your most important goals, with intention, structure, and measurement. Set what I call connection cycles, monthly or quarterly moments of intentional investment in the people who matter most to you. It might be a conversation you've been avoiding, a gesture you've been postponing, a vulnerability you've been protecting. Put it in the system, because what gets scheduled gets done, and what gets done transforms. Every conflict, every misunderstanding, every moment where you failed to see someone's attachment for what it was, reframe it not as evidence that you are bad at relationships, but as data. Data about your blind spots, data about your emotional conditioning, data that, if examined honestly, will make you a more capable, more present, more extraordinary partner in every form of human connection. Jocko Willink says, discipline equals freedom in the context of relationships. The discipline of honest self-examination is what frees you from repeating the same relational patterns forever. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. You cannot be emotionally present for the people attached to you if you are running on fumes, numbed by screens, or so overextended that you have nothing left when they need you. Protect your energy with the same ferocity with which you protect your time, sleep, silence, solitude. These are not luxuries. They are the infrastructure of emotional availability. The person who tends to themselves is the person who can truly tend to others. This is the deepest level. Stop thinking of yourself as someone who is trying to be better in relationships. Begin declaring yourself as someone who is a person of deep relational intelligence. Identity precedes behavior. When you shift the story you tell about yourself from "I'm not good at reading people" to "I am someone who sees people clearly and deeply," your actions reorganize themselves around that identity. You begin to notice the signs. You begin to respond with intentionality. You begin to attract and sustain the kind of connection that transforms a life. These 6 disciplines are not personality traits, they are chosen behaviors. And chosen behaviors can be built, refined, and mastered by anyone willing to do the work. I want to leave you with something that has lived in my mind for a long time. The philosopher Simone Weil wrote, "Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity." Think about that. In a world of infinite distraction, in a time when everyone is performing, scrolling, and rushing, the most radical, most transformative, most generous thing you can give to another human being is your full attention. To see them, to notice the silent signs of their attachment, to honor the invisible architecture of what they have built around your existence. This is what the 7 signs are really asking of you. Not just to feel good that someone cares, but to rise to the level of love being offered to you. Here is your commitment for the next 30 days. I am giving you 3. Say this and mean it. I am someone who sees people. I am someone who honors attachment. I am someone worthy of the deep connections in my life. Say it until it stops feeling like an affirmation and starts feeling like a description. For the next 30 days, every single day, look for one silent sign of emotional attachment in the people around you. 1, that's all, notice it. Name it privately. Let it change how you show up for that person. After 30 days, you will not be the same person. You cannot pay this quality of attention to human beings and remain unchanged. Tell one person who matters to you, that you are committed to becoming more emotionally present. Not because you need to perform your growth, but because spoken commitments carry a weight that internal ones rarely do. Let someone witness you choosing this. And before I close, the goal is not to be perfect, but to be relentless. Relentless in your attention, relentless in your presence, relentless in your decision to honor the invisible, quiet, extraordinary love that is already in your life. You are not reading this by accident. Someone in your life is carrying something for you silently. They are noticing you in ways you haven't noticed yet. They are staying when leaving would be easier. They are building something invisible and beautiful, and they are building it with you at the center. The only question is, will you see it? The decision is yours, and it starts now. If this reached something real in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Not because a number on a screen matters, but because the person you're thinking of right now, the one whose face just appeared in your mind, they deserve to know that someone is paying attention. Go be that person.